Hey everybody, welcome to our weekend check-in video for WSTS-47 Intro to LGBTQ Plus Studies for Saturday, March 30th. Just going to go over a few items and reminders like I always do to help you stay on top of things. First up, I hope you've enjoyed your spring break. It's always nice to have a week off there and not have to worry about turning in any assignments or anything like that, at least on any due dates there. There's no due dates over spring break, of course, but we're going to be back to business there starting next week. So I hope you're enjoying the last tail end of our break there, because there's always going to be more to do when we get back. Just a few items to go over here. First up, our most recent first quiz on Chapter 9, quiz 9.1, if you will. Those scores were posted there right before spring break, so do take a look at that. I'll be handing those back to you in class on Tuesday. Also, per our course calendar, just a heads up, we have our second quiz on Chapter 9 because it's a pretty long chapter. So quiz 9.2, if you will, that's going to be on Thursday next week there on April 4th. So make sure you got your homework ready for that. You'll work in your small groups to come up with those correct answers on the quiz. Next up here, don't forget that your interview paper is also due Thursday, April 4th of this coming week there. Remember, there is a dedicated module on our Canvas course page just simply labeled interview paper, so do take a look at that. When you open it up, everything you need to know is in there, because part of what you're going to do is you're going to interview somebody else who has a queer identity. But remember, it has to be a queer identity different than your own. So if you identify as a lesbian, well, you can't interview somebody else who also identifies as a lesbian. You got to find somebody else. And again, it's okay to use somebody else in the class there too. But you are going to ask 5 interview questions, 4 of which have already been pre-written for you. So you'll find those in the instructions. And per those instructions, you're going to write the 5th question there on your own. So just make sure that you're ready to do that there. And then you're going to summarize how your interviewee answered those questions with a minimum of 4 full sentences. You'll see all that in the instructions there, so don't worry about writing any of that down. It's all in the instructions. And make sure that you don't just quote your participant there. Make sure you actually kind of wrap up or just what they told you there to answer those questions. Also, you're going to provide 3 summary questions about your interview too. These are just kind of big takeaways, just some overall issues that kind of fell out of your interview from the way your questions were answered there in the first part with those 5 questions there. Those 3 summary questions are provided there for you in the instructions, so do take a look at them. You have to provide a minimum of 3 full sentences for each one of those summary questions there, and one of them actually involves, is there something from your book that seems to support what you found or learned about your interviewee in your interview, so make sure that you provide that there. And you are going to upload your paper in the dedicated submission area that you'll find in that interview paper module on Canvas. It must be in Microsoft Word, so no PDFs, Google Docs, etc. there. And all of you have free access to Office 365, which includes Word on any Canvas course page. You just click on that Office 365 link, and there you have it there. So just make sure that you upload it there by the due time. You are allowed to submit it late per the instructions you'll find there, but there are deductions for late submissions. It's 10% for being late deduction, and then a 5% deduction for every 24-hour period after that. And after 72 hours, you won't be able to submit at all. So please get it on time. I hate to see a well-written paper get docked a lot of points just because it's late, so please be careful about that. Next up here, next week, this is what we're going to be going through on Tuesday and Thursday. On Tuesday, we're going to continue with Chapter 9, and we're going to be taking a look at the important topic of queer theory, which you may have heard about that. There is such a thing called queer theory, and it's just a perspective to understand things that oftentimes just gets kind of erased or never considered. So it's a pretty interesting and really important part of our course there. And we're also going to be taking a look at what are called transgressive artists. In this case, we're still talking about writers, so transgressive artists, writers, and what they have to say, and what does it mean to say somebody is transgressive. It basically means that you've kind of crossed the line, you've gone too far there. We're going to see a lot of that in this remainder of this chapter and also our next chapter 10. And on Thursday, we are going to finish up chapter 9 by taking a look at quote-unquote children's books that have queer topics. I'm sure you've heard all about the book banning and controversy around that, and that goes way back. This is nothing new. It always kind of comes and goes, but we're going to go ahead and take a look. I've actually got copies of some of these controversial books that I'm going to be passing out in class for you to take a look at, and you can see for yourself if you think they're quote-unquote appropriate or not. And also on Thursday, we're going to pick up with our next chapter in this first part on representations in this section of our course, going to be taking a look at chapter 10, which is all about the visual arts. And we're going to start off by taking a look at actual paintings and illustrators and stuff. Really cool stuff. I'm sure you've heard of some of these folks perhaps. So really great stuff and lots of things to look at because it is visual art and it's painting. So you have to see it. Can't just describe it. And I've got lots of good PowerPoint slides to show you some of the work your book authors talk about, but they don't actually show you what it is. So I'm going to show you all that stuff. All right, that's everything I wanted to say for right now. If you need anything in the meantime, reach out via email on Canvas and I'll get back to you. Otherwise, again, enjoy the last part of your spring break. Mine was pretty busy, so I didn't get a lot of downtime to relax there, but I'm going to maybe try to do something over the weekend here. But otherwise, I'll see you in class on Tuesday. And take care until then. Bye-bye.